And we're live. All right. Well, it looks like just me, but I brought along a co-host here. So hello, Matt. How are you doing?
Hello.
So Matt was kind enough to co-host. It's a national holiday in Japan, so no work. So that means no lunchtime. So that means no Chris. Chris has family plans over the weekend, taking advantage of the 3-day holiday. So it's a culture day in Japan. So celebrate all that culture that people love in their anime so much. Oh, and today's also the premiere of the new Godzilla movie. So that's pretty crazy.
Which one? There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's not an American. This is a Toho made.
The Toho one.
Not yeah. So it's I can't tell. They're kind of being secretive about. It looks very World War II kind of Showa based, so like the 1940s, 1950s based. So it may be connected to the war. So it may be a new origin story, like a new Godzilla, because it's called Godzilla -1 is the English title. So it might be a new origin for Godzilla. So I don't know. It might be uncomfortable, an uncomfortable origin, but we'll see.
Yes. So there's that one, and then there's another one coming out by the guys. Is it Gareth something?
Oh,
did that last.
Yeah. I think America still has the rights. Yeah.
And then Apple is doing a series.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
It looks kind of cool. It's got what's his name from Big Trouble in Little China? Kurt Russell, right?
Yeah, Kurt Russell, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be more like intrigue and you know how much does the government really know about the monsters kind of thing.
Wow. I hope it's not tied into that MonsterVerse they were trying to do. I hope it's its own thing. I guess it can't be because that was like Universal, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. Yeah, so Godzilla's getting a lot of mileage, but this is the real deal. Godzilla -1 is a Toho film, so it should be pretty good. It looks like
no rubber suits. I
heard. I think they've after the Shin Godzilla, they moved away, but they do motion capture. So it's motion capture with a pretty good 3D model. So it has, some wiggle and stuff. So it does look a little rubber suity, but yeah, they're doing all CG now. I think for budgetary reasons, it's gotten cheaper. I think that we passed that threshold where finally doing digital looks good and is actually cheaper than building all the little tiny houses and stuff.
Does he still strike the karate poses in the Toho ones?
I don't know. He looks pretty monstrous.
Awesome.
Yeah. The ones in the 70s, late 60s and 70s, that where they're like, okay, this is a kid's character. This is going to be our kid's character. Yeah, he does all kinds of ridiculous pandering to children. Yeah.
Or my favorite was the one where he slam his tail and jump kick and then just sort of fly horizontally.
Right. Yes. Yeah, Godzilla versus Megalon, I think, had some of the cheesiest fights. Because I think they were imitating like Japanese wrestling moves. I think that was like part of the gimmick. Yeah, so that's funny. Yes. All right. So, how was your Halloween in America? Did anything?
It was kind of a dud.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I need to adopt or something. It's not as much fun without little kids. To do,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, same here. They shut down all the public drinking, so they really try. And I think because the tourism was so crazy, they're worried about things getting out of hand and people not listening to crowd control and police and stuff. So they're literally police on bicycles with trash bags, just like riding around and taking your alcohol from you if you're standing in the street and drinking.
My buddy that lives on the southern island. Is that Kyushu? I forget. Yeah. Okay. He had 4 little kids that live in his building come to his door. He filmed it. Came to his door in costumes to trick or treat.
Wow. Well,
and I was like, oh, okay. So some of them are trick or treat.
Right. Nice. So he's not a Yakuza member, is he? Because that's their famous gimmick. Is Yakuza? I think it's Kyushu. I think that's the big area on Kyushu Island, like the big headquarters of the big Gumi, like the largest family. that kids accidentally did that. Like there was an international school nearby, and international students were trick or treating, and they went to the Yakuza house and they gave out candy. So it became their big gimmick. I think like starting in the 80s, their big gimmick to give out candy to all the kids every year to show what good guys they are. We're not really bad guys. Yeah. So that's funny. So maybe they mistook his house for one of the one of the clan.
Yeah. Well, he lives in like an apartment building, but it's
oh, that's nice.
He's not a Yakuza, I don't think. He like teaches English and makes pastries for a local cafe.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, tell him to hold up his hands like this so he can count all of his digits. Yeah.
You're right.
Oh man. Nice. Yeah, I think over the pandemic, I think trick-or-treating even in America was ruined because I heard somebody talking about trunk or treat. So basically, people pull up their cars in the parking lot with their trunks decorated, and kids can walk around and hand out candy. So the whole social aspect of trick-or-treating is collapsing. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get too political, but the trunk or treat things that it started as a church thing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
And it's like, it's kind of basically the churches that used to say Halloween is evil, don't do Halloween.
right.
Kind of like folded and said, all right, well, we'll do this thing where you come to the church and we give you candy and it's trunk or treat.
Ah, I see.
And I don't know. And now it's not just them. It's like other organizations doing it too. Right. So yeah, I kind of get it. Like people want to be safe or whatever, but I don't know. When I was a kid, we would go miles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, that was the fun of it. It was like physically challenging, and then you made yourself sick with all the insulin your body had to produce to process all the sugar. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's funny. So yeah, things have changed. Yeah, things have changed a lot, and it doesn't really have a good context here. So that's nice that kids were trick or treating, because that would be. This is such a family friendly. Japan is such a family friendly and kid friendly country that it would be good if they started that, because I think that would be a nice social thing. But people don't like to know their neighbors too much. It's getting to be like the U.S. So I don't know if it would take off. But in apartment buildings and stuff where people are paying like, the association fees and stuff, maybe maybe it'll be worth it.
And they were super little kids too.
Oh,
so it might be,
nice.
Maybe it'll just be a little kid thing.
Yeah, it should be. That's very cute. Nice. Well, hey, dude is in the chat. Good to see you. And you missed. It wasn't last week. I think it was before Halloween. I was talking about the Jack Chick tracks. So speaking of church and religion, and so I found that the website has all of them just on there to read. So we read through Dark Dungeons, the D&D one. Yeah, that was great.
Nice.
But they're actually terrible comics as far as like storytelling and like how they're paced and stuff. It doesn't make any sense. It just jumps around to whatever is the important scene, so you can't tell. Like the context is very strange. You're just jumping from location to location, character to character. So they didn't actually get comic book people to do this. They just got some illustrators to so the quality of those is very funny. It's very very suspicious.
Hey, Miguel.
Oh, Miguel, nice. Jack Chick, yes, yeah, those are great. I can't believe, and you can order for like $100. You can get like 10,000 of them, any title you want. And they even have there's a few Japanese translations. They do like international translations. It's really funny. I remember finding this around in Los Angeles, but I haven't seen any in a long time. Yeah, mostly just at the. There would always be someone at one of the independent comic shows that would have a booth with a big library of those for people that collected them.
Does Japan have like? Do you guys get like the LDS and the J-Dubs knocking on your door?
Yes, yeah. I've had it not at our house, but at my office. I had that. Yeah, so it's they're mostly by the big train stations, and it's strange because they'll make really hard eye contact with you, and in Japan that's really rude and strange. So yeah, it's and they mostly they look at they go after foreigners a lot too, because they probably see you as spiritually hungry if you're living outside your home country. But they are here, and there is a presence. Yes. So gaming wise, so we missed our Star Trek session last weekend. Anything been up for you? Did you have any miniature gaming or anything come up?
Had a board game night. Played a hilarious game of that Thunder Road.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It went from 4-player game. So each player has 3 cars. So there were 12 cars, and at the end of the game, I won. It was me and one of my cars left, and one other guy who had 1 car left.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So the mechanics.
Oh, and then we played. I'm sorry.
Oh, the mechanics are good. You like the rules and everything. It's very.
Oh yeah. It's super Ameritrash, right? There's a lot of randomness, but it's Mad Max, so you need it to be random and things exploding and
right.
And it's a lot of fun. The cars bouncing all over the place. It's hilarious.
Oh, nice.
But we also played that Jaws game.
Oh yeah.
That's a 3 versus 1 game, right? So there's the 3 players are playing Chief Brody, Quint, and what's his name? The scientist guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, why am I blanking anyway? And they're trying, and then one person's a shark. And it's in 2 acts. The first act is around the island. You're trying to save tourists on the beaches and chase the shark away. And then the second act is you out in the middle of the ocean on that boat while the shark's attacking the boat. Right? And it's got like a hidden movement component to it. And don't want to make Will feel bad, but we killed that shark in record time. Like he was not a good shark.
Oh no! Only 2 barrels. It only took 2 barrels this time. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So we got the 2 barrels on him in the first act, which is what you have to do to drive him away and move it to the second act. And in the second act, he came out swinging. He like destroyed 2 sections of our ship, and the boat only has like 6 sections. And then we all guessed the right spot when he came out of the water, and just alpha striked him, and it was like dead shark.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
She's chucking oxygen tanks in its mouth, and nice.
There's all kinds of baseball bat, a machete.
Oh, wow.
It's silly.
Nice.
Flare gun.
I remember the Jaws game from the 70s where it was like kind of like Operation. It was the
I had that.
Yeah.
You're taking stuff out of his mouth.
Right, yeah. And try not to get it to trigger so it clamps onto your little hook thing, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it it was like a little fishing pole kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, man.
The Jaws board game. Nice. Oh, that sounds fun. Good stuff.
Yeah. It was pretty good times.
Good. Yeah, we unboxed over the weekend. We unboxed finally the Monster Hunter board game, the Monster Hunter World board game, and then
I watched some of that.
Oh,
cool. I was going to ask if you got to play it. Or
yeah, we did. So while we were doing that, they were setting up upstairs the core game, and so we got to play through that, and it's really fun. It does a nice job. It's very difficult, but it does a really nice job of imitating the mechanics of the video game. So it has nice pacing and everything, and you do have to coordinate. It's not like in the game you don't really have so much time to discuss strategy in the video game, but in the board game you can kind of like line things up because you only have so many attacks per round, and what the and it's cool too because the monster has attack cards, and on the face of the card there's all the information about what happens in that round, but on the backs of the cards it gives you hints about what kind of attack, like what if it's going to be a tail and if it's going to target the furthest away or the nearest player, so you can kind of strategize. You get a little bit of information just from the cards sitting face down on the top of the monster attack deck, which I thought was pretty clever. So you have a little bit of because that's similar to the game where it has these behaviors, these patterns that you can kind of read. So it kind of tells you what's coming up in the game, the video game, and so the board game has that, on the backs of the cards. So yeah, they did a really nice job of replicating some of the mechanics in the video game. So yeah, it was fun, and the miniatures are just gorgeous. Yeah, they look.
They looked impressive.
Good. Yeah.
So is it campaign? Like, are you
Yes.
meant to continue on with the character and stuff?
Yeah, and it's also similar if you played like the online versions of the game or the multiplayer versions of the game, where you have to beg the other players, I just need this one more piece of bone to make this full monster suit. So please, can we hunt this monster? So you'll have people in the group probably begging you to try different things because they need to get, and it's random, like what you harvest is random. So it's just like the multiplayer in the video game where you're trying and trying and trying to get to finish that suit of armor. Yeah. So yeah, they did a good job, and it's got a narrative component too, where there's an adventure that happens, kind of a choose your own adventure style a story that happens before you find the monster, and during that you can find materials or you can get some advantages, or there's some cool stuff that tries to so kind of like the video cutscene of discovering the monster. It gives you hints about, it sleeps in the tree and it does this and it does that, so you kind of get these context clues in the story of what you're hunting, and if it's electric or if it's water or kind of whatever. So pretty cool.
How many plays do you think it's gonna give you?
How many times? It can, with all the expansions, it can go for quite a while. We haven't gotten a good sense of how powerful you need to be before you kind of move up to the next rank of monster, but they're kind of rated in stars, and the end of your campaign is a 5-star monster. So the biggest ones that we unbox, those like giant one-piece ones with the multiple, like the super powerful attacks that they kind of build up to. So they like lay some ash or some kind of material out on the ground, and once there's 5 of those on the ground, then they do some super attack that hits everybody on the board. That is like your final boss type monster for the end of the campaign. So I haven't quite figured out the pacing, but it could be like easily like 6 to 8 before you're even anywhere near strong enough games, play sessions, before you're able to get up to that level. But we could craft weapons pretty quick. Like after one monster, you can already improve either your armor or your weapon, and that makes a big deal. That like makes you much more effective.
That's cool.
But I was really happy with what they did, because I was a little worried that we'd have all these beautiful miniatures and then just a really lousy game that nobody wanted to play. But it's a ton of cards, though. That's the thing, is managing this. Like everything's got a deck, and every weapon's got a better version of it. So you have decks of weapons, decks of monsters, decks of monster moves, all the armor sets, and then all of the attacks for your players' decks, your hunters' decks. So but good stuff. Yes, I'm glad it was sitting on the shelves mocking us in its plastic wrap, but finally we got to get there. And I think Chris was pretty impressed, because I got a message after that night, and what do you think about the Iceborne set? Do you think we should go in on that one too? So I think Chris liked everything, and you can solo it too. So she's already done 2 solo sessions to level a new character. So it's nice. And so that means too, if you can like split up decks, and with so many cards you can easily do that. If you want to split up decks, and if you have multiple copies of books, then you can kind of solo, if you have free time, solo by yourselves and then get together for bigger fights. So that's kind of a cool aspect to it as well. Because with 2 core sets, that means you have 2 of the rule books. So the quest books. So you can read through the adventure part of it, and do it by yourself. And if it's 1 or 2 players, then you get the little palico assistants. The little cats will assist you in the fight, so you're not like completely alone. You get buffs and upgrades and things. So and there's miniatures for everything. Of course. All right. Okay, so we get started for this week.
Yeah.
We good? All right. So, hey, everybody in the chat. Good to see you, Miguel. I missed you last week. And, dude, so, let's get started. So a bunch of little topics for this week. So it may seem like a long list in the intro, but most of them are quick mentions. Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt. So Chris is busy, and Matt is here with me. So thank you so much for co-hosting all the way from the other side of the world. I can't believe we're able to do this. And this week on the weekly, so Deck of Lousy Things, the Army Painter Fanatic series, Help for Jennel Jaquays, Forbidden Psalm End Times Edition, Epic Mantic, and Megnagothic Maleghast. So,
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, we'll end very metal. We'll end very hardcore, very metal. All right. So so somebody's going to come up in this first story about the poor release of Deck of Many Things, and that is Kyle Brink. And so, so continuing our Brink watch, it is day 286 since Kyle Brink told 3 black halflings he should step away from the hobby, as all cisgender white men should, to allow the hobby to become better. And he still has not done this, so we're waiting. We're waiting, Kyle.
You know, every time you say that, if I know it's a podcast, right, called 3 Black Halflings, but when you say that, I just imagine this Kyle Brink guy is hallucinating and talking to these 3 black halflings.
It could be. At this point, it could be. Yeah. He's trying to talk. He's backpedaling. He's like, we're not that bad, guys. I mean, really, we've contributed to the hobby a little bit. I mean, I really don't need to give up my job, do I? Yes. So we're getting there. We're getting close to a year of this procrastinating, but we'll see. But this first story could be the beginning of the end for Kyle Brink. This was quite a mishap, and he's taking the lead in explaining what happened. So D&D's Deck of Many Things will not ship due to production defects. And so, quote from Wizards of the Coast, "I cannot in good conscience ship this stock." So this is pretty strange for Wizards of the Coast, a company that their major income is Magic the Gathering, which is cards. They're having trouble printing cards. So very interesting problem. So they're doing a new version, a physical release of the Deck of Many Things, and having some pretty big production defects. It was expected to release November 14th, so the 14th of this month, just a couple of weeks. And a quote from Kyle Brink, of CEO of D&D. We are, or I guess executive producer of D&D. "We are going to be suspending the ship date until we can get to the bottom of this and remanufacture and redistribute copies that don't have these issues." So Brink spoke with Polygon. He said, "The defect rate is too high. I cannot in good conscience ship this stock. We fully need to inspect it, understand how many units are defective, and all that." So this was going to be the and Deck of Many Things first appeared in 1975. It was a magical set of playing cards. This is going to be a super deluxe and super expensive product, which is going to contain 66 tarot-style cards with foil applique, 2 hardcover books, the Book of Many Things, and then the card reference guide. The Book of Many Things book, not the card reference, will still be digitally available. Oh, it is now, because October 31st, so the end of last month, it became digitally available, as well as the cards in a PDF version. But the physical versions have many problems. So the quality issues consist of convex and concave cards that won't shuffle well. They kind of stick to each other. Uneven card stacks. All 66 cards don't line up together on the short side. They're all different heights. Uneven corners, stress creases from handling, additional creases and damage, and then additional cosmetic issues, including I think what they're going to try to blame, and I think everyone is going to have growing pains or kind of adjustment with this, is they're trying to use more environmentally friendly packaging. So they're moving away from cello wrap and everything to hold the card. So to reduce waste in packaging with non-biodegradable plastic, they're all moving towards paper banding and paper wrapping. And the paper bands that were on these decks especially were done too tight, and they were actually removing the applique on the cards themselves where they were touching. And another quote from Brink is, so this is all for a good cause. Obviously, we want to reduce plastic waste, so we will use paper packaging. We inspect very closely everything throughout the production process to make sure everything was going fine with that. And yet some of the problems that we are seeing here are specifically because some of the paper packaging that we use. So yeah, it looks like it looks like they're going to be struggling to figure out how to move away. But he didn't blame either the Chinese or American based printing partners. Just said that we're going to learn from this problem, and so this problem doesn't happen again because we don't. The excuse is this: we don't make a lot of cards for D&D, but you do make probably the most cards of any other company for Magic: The Gathering.
Walk across the hall and talk to the Magic people, Kyle.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that actually makes you very curious about how much division there is between departments, and if it's like no, we don't talk to the D&D guys. Those guys are losers. We're the Magic the Gathering guys. Yeah.
So, a little old man background on Wizards of the Coast card production.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Magic initially came out, they were using a European company called Carta Mundi to make the cards. Then, in order to take control of the whole thing and theoretically save money, they bought Carta Mundi. Right? Mm-hmm. And then they shut down Carta Mundi and outsourced all their card making. So they're making the bed that they're lying in the bed they made. You know, this is like their stupidness coming back.
Right. Wow. Yeah, it's really amazing. Oh, and I didn't get to the best part. Sorry. The best part is that this deck of many things retails for $110. So that's for 2 books and a deck of cards for $110. I mean, how much foil applique can be on this thing that it's worth $110? So, the product has already been sent out to sellers like Amazon, so they're going to have to call things back and take a look at them. But I can imagine it's gotten into the hands of people that are going to sell the bad products anyhow. So their reputation is already going to get damaged by this, not just only for the delay, but because some of those card sets are probably going to get out there, and people will be able to complain about those because it's really hard to trust a lot of these big online retailers like Amazon. They do whatever they want, and they're sellers, and the people in their marketplaces sell whatever they want. So we'll see if they can actually recall everything. And optimistically, they said hopefully by the end of the year everyone can get the reprinted version, but it may not be likely because this recall will take a while.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this the first time there's been an official physical version of the deck of many things?
I think so, yeah, because it used to just be a reference for a deck of playing cards. And this deck is also doing a couple of other things. It's giving you mechanics for inspiration. So the DM can deal, I think, 3 or 4 cards at the beginning of a session and say, with inspiration, you can buy one of these things, like a re-roll or whatever. So it'll be like to not make inspiration so wide open, each session can have kind of a little bit different flavor. So those extra 14 cards that they're including involve things like that. Some new mechanics to change around some of the basic parts of 5e, but I did read about inspiration having its own card mechanic now, if you want to do that. But I think this is the first time to do it, and I mean it could have been a really great release. I mean, not for $110, or at least they could have broken it up so you could just buy the cards, or I don't know. It's or I guess maybe the digital. Well, digital is never cheaper, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. But all of those people dreaming of their Christmas sessions with their deck of many things may have to wait.
And was it digital? Was it a PDF that you could just get?
I think so. Yeah, they said that
because that feels like something they're trying to get away from, right?
Right.
Force people into.
Yeah, that might be the price. Yeah, they said the book. I guess one of the books is available digitally. I don't think the card reference is. Yeah, so the Book of Many Things hardcover is available as a PDF. The card reference is not. So maybe the cards are not as well. Maybe they're making it kind of a deluxe item, a deluxe physical item. Wow. So if it's $110 from Wizards of the Coast, how much is the Beetle and Grimm's deck of many things going to cost? I'm speculating like $550 possibly.
Right.
And it will be all new
See,
illustrations.
how big of suckers are you, D&D players?
Yes. Yes. So so Kyle, that's just one more reason to step away. I'm sure somebody, a more diverse staff, a more a more inclusive staff, a more inclusive leader would have been able to handle this, but not you, Kyle. All right. So we'll see you we'll see you in about 100 days and see if you're still hanging in there. So another new release, this is from Army Painter. Army Painter is doing a new series of paints they're calling Fanatic. And they gave some details about the dates and the features of this new paint lineup. So Warhammer had, they've been doing acrylic paints for fantasy miniatures for a while, both kind of army, military-based releases and then fantasy. And a lot of the colors are kind of color matched to Games Workshop colors, so that they were a cheaper alternative, and I think they're produced in the US, so a cheaper alternative for North American customers to do this. And they're coming out with a new series of very differently pigmented paints. So some mystery paints were sent out to various influencers and painters all over the world, and they've generated a lot of feedback. So they got some usage details, along with what people thought of just the color selection and everything. So this has been in development for about 4 years, and so the Fanatic paints will have exceptional coverage and very different, more vibrant colors. So it's a new set of 216 acrylic paints, so 8 reformulated skin tones, reformulated metallics, 18 effects paints, and an 18 wash line of washes. So these are supposed to give you the best coverage of any paint that they produced to this point, which already their paints had very decent coverage themselves, but they've been taking a ton of feedback over these 4 years from all the paints they've been sending out. So they're talking about coverage. So you can't make a paint hold enough pigment to actually cover in many cases. So the more pigment you add, the less it's kind of this reverse thing. However, they've managed to use 300 to 700% more pigment in these new paints, depending on the colors, so that they generally, if there's too much pigment, they don't cover and they separate. And they've been able to use stabilizers in the mix to give a nice paint flow. They cover well, and they have insanely nice saturated, bright color values. So often yellow can't be painted directly on a black base, but this actually covers and looks good. So they're kind of solving some of the problems. They're going to release these colors in a flexible 6-color triad system. So there'll be 4 triads for each set of traditional colors, and so you'll be able to, instead of having to mix each color, you'll just be able to go straight to a bottle and do kind of the next step. So like the mid-tone or highlight, they'll do these little triads for you, and each bottle comes with 2 mixing balls, so that's nice. The dropper bottles save paint, and plus when there's mixing balls already inside, your shaking is much more effective. So so this Fanatic line, that's a lot of new paint, and they're color matched to their existing spray lines and air paint lines. However, these will be taking the place of their existing war paints. So this new formulation is going to be their new default. So a complete mega set and a complete set of Fanatic paints will be available for pre-order January of next year, and the starter sets in February, and then singles will come out later in 2024. So we're seeing a revival of the Army Painter line, and they're very affordable. It's similar to Vallejo. They're half the price for almost twice the paint. So it's quite a deal compared to some other companies with very inconvenient little paint pots that seem to let in the air and let your paint dry out and all that good stuff.
When I was in my super Stargrave hustle, I used their contrast paints or whatever they call them, and I really liked them because I'm a very impatient painter.
Right.
So I really appreciated that. And the yellow thing you're talking about, that's awesome because yellows and light oranges are infuriating to me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm never happy with how they look.
Yeah, yeah. To get decent coverage and have a real vibrant, vibrant tone is very difficult. Yeah, usually if you've based it or primed it in black or gray, you're going to have to go over first whites and then your yellows and oranges to get anything that looks even reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I look forward to seeing how that goes. And they did reformulate because they had some, I don't know how accurate it was, but they did have some sabotage from Vallejo talking about the reactivating of their speed paints. Speed paints is what their version of contrast paints. Vallejo was kind of dissing them and saying their paints were no good because Vallejo was releasing their own line of that style of paint. And so there was a army painter did do a 2.0 of their speed paints as a reformulation to prevent all possibility of any kind of reactivation, because in a lot of cases people are using those speed paints or contrast paints just as one part of or one tool for painting. So it's not the entire model. So they'll want to use speed paint and then be able to go over it and maybe do further highlighting or washes or whatever. So any reactivation is very inconvenient or very impractical. So yeah, they did a 2.0 on their speed paints. Yeah, so they're getting all completely revived. Yeah, I thought the coverage on their original paints was not bad at all. The my original army paints, I did a lot of when you had to do white details and things on like infinity models. I really like the army painters coverage. Yeah, whites, don't even go near whites with Citadel paints. All of their whites are either chalky or clumpy or they're horrifying, and they don't cover at all. For dry brushing, I guess they're okay, but that's about it. I've had really bad luck with Citadel white. All right, so this is some very sad news for the tabletop industry. So we got a notice last month, kind of the end of October. Jennel Jaquays is going to face a long road back to recovery. So this is a very important figure in kind of American game design and also video game design. So it's amazing. Her resume is insane, insanely productive and moving from different industries. So you may know this designer from the Dark Tower and the Caverns of Thracia that were produced for the Judges Guild. But she also worked on Pac-Man and Donkey Kong for Coleco to bring that to the home video consoles. And then also worked on Age of Empires, the Age of Empires series, Quake 2, Quake 3 Arena, and was the cover artist for TSR's Dragon Mountain. So from the mid-'70s. She began working in tabletop and is just either through physical desktop or tabletop publishing or computer gaming had a huge effect on a lot of different industries. But unfortunately, there's currently a GoFundMe that was set up by Rebecca Henneman that said they are crowdfunding to offset heavy medical costs. So it was October 15th that Jennel fell ill. And 36 hours, she was barely alive and hooked up to a respirator. And after numerous x-rays, CAT scans, and blood work, they found nothing. Eventually, they determined that she had a neurological disease, and they diagnosed her with Guillain-Barré syndrome. So she responded to blood treatments, and it looks like she has 2, maybe more like 4 weeks in the hospital, followed by 6 to 12 months of rehabilitation. So that's going to create a mountain of medical bills. So Rebecca Henneman set up a GoFundMe to help offset that, and it had a $50,000 limit to it, but it's a goal, and it's already exceeded that. So anything over that will be very much appreciated, I'm sure, because the medical expenses in the U.S. are just insane. Mm-hmm. So they and they're near Atlanta, Georgia.
This one kind of resonated with me because when I've gone through different periods of trying to learn more about the history of Dungeons and Dragons and everything, and her name always comes up. Her Dark Tower, like the stuff she did for Judges Guild, happened during a time in TSR's history, which is hilarious, where they were convinced that making adventures for D&D was not the smart thing to do. Not, no one's gonna buy them, right? And then she makes like with Judges Guild, Dark Tower and everything, and they're like they sell tremendously, and they're kind of the blueprint almost for commercial adventures for a while. And yeah, it's kind of a big deal. And then, like you said, she jumps into video games and does amazing there. And yeah, it was. I hope it all works out. It sounds like it is, but yeah, it's scary stuff.
Yeah, it really is, and especially when the doctors have no idea. They're running all these tests and they have no idea, and finally you get a neurological disease diagnosis. That's very rough. So so good luck and swift recovery for Jennel. That was very sad to hear, but it gave me a chance to go back through her work history, because a lot of stories about her were doing biographical information, and wow, a very impressive career in multiple industries. All right, and something that came up on Kickstarter, and this is kind of a return, and we recently played this game as well. So we had a recent game of Forbidden Psalm. Forbidden Psalm is the miniature skirmish game for Morkborg. So Morkborg is the kind of the black metal RPG, and Forbidden Psalm uses the same stats and everything. So it's actually, you could cross the characters back and forth between the two games and either play a miniature skirmish game or play them in the RPG themselves. And they are now releasing the End Times edition of Forbidden Psalm. So this will be the definitive edition, and basically what it's going to do is combine the core book and the first expansion, which was the Footsteps of the Mad Wizard. And I noticed we just used the core book when we played. It's really quick to put together your gang, but you choose 5 miniatures and then you just roll them up using tables. You roll them up randomly, and there's 2 stat lines you can choose from. So they either hit really big, they either have a really big bonus and a really bad stat, and or they have kind of mid stats. There's kind of 2 ways you can stat them out, and then you roll, even the names and things can be rolled on tables. So they're very fun. Each character, each model has a feat and a flaw. And so sometimes you go with, all in strength, and you want this big slugger, and then he ends up, being afraid. He runs in fear every time, he takes damage, or there's a lot of really funny combinations that sabotage the characters. But it was fun. It reminded me very much of the DCC funnel, because I could see using this skirmish game as a way to kind of funnel create, the character that survived the skirmish battle, could be the one that you actually played in the adventure, because you become really attached to these very flawed characters. And the one stat that we didn't know, there is not a dump stat in Morkborg, if you don't know. So there's 4 stats, and the one that I was using as the dump stat was presence, and I knew that it was. My assumption was that must be the magic stat. You only have 1 caster in your party, so all of my other characters are going to have massively negative presence. So presence is what you also use for your morale rolls, and it's also what you use to interact with anything. So if you want to pick something up, you have to roll presence, and nobody in my crew could pick anything up, and we ran constantly. And but it was a lot of fun. The kind of oddball stuff you have to work around makes it really fun, and so you do become attached to these very flawed characters with these wacky generated names.
Is it 'cause I think you might have been talking about this on the unboxing you did, or
I think so. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it kind of piqued my interest. Yeah, because my group seems to not want to play Stargrave anymore.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, maybe I could get him to try that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, Forbidden Psalm it's really fun. And it's got a lot of flavor. It's got a lot of its own flavor, because basically you're just doing jobs for this wizard. So so Forbidden Psalm is a 28 millimeter miniatures agnostic game, so you can use any kind of miniatures. And there are a few designers that have Patreons that do digital design for 3D printers that have made specifically stuff to use that has the nice feel of this game, but of course kit bashing and making cruddy models. are part of the fun. So a lot of random generators to create your crew. It's Vreprix, the Mad Wizard, is basically who you're working for, and so all of the campaign and all of the different scenarios are about serving him, finding black mushrooms to make him tea, but the black mushrooms infect you and kill you, like turn you into fungus, and he has an obsession with socks, so there's sock gathering missions. So there's a lot of fun narrative built into it. And so in this definitive edition, the core rules haven't changed. They just want to reprint. And I think we did come across a couple of page numbering mistakes, like, refer to page 29. And we weren't sure if that was in the book, in the Forbidden Psalm book, or if that was in the original Morkboard book, but none of the page. There was a few times where the page number didn't make any sense, so they may be doing some corrections for a few of those things to clarify. And in some of the layout, it's hard to read some of it because it's that overly designed, overly graphically designed, real heavy kind of black metal layout. But so they're giving it a whole shiny new design, combining everything in the books. And so better design and rules clarification. So no rules changes, but they're just going to clarify things to make sure stuff that's probably come up over the years, the last few years of play testing or playing, people will now know exactly what that means, or the order things should be resolved. That very often causes problems. So this will be a hardcover case-bound A5 book, or a softcover perfect bound A5 book. With color covers and interiors. The hardcover is printed exclusively for this Kickstarter, and the softcover will remain in print forever. And it'll be around 180 pages. So if you already have the first two books, the expansion and the core book, you're not getting anything new other than the new design and a little bit maybe more convenience. It's all in one book. But they are also releasing for this campaign a collection of death. So a lot of the mini expansions for Forbidden Psalm that have been created. So Dead Festival 2, Dungeons and Death, Rotten Bits, Forbidden Wilderness, and Dead Church, the first time that it's been in print, are going to be collected into another 80 to 100 page softcover book. They're also producing a War Band book, which is an A5 zine that is basically going to be your War Band sheet, kind of your can chronicle the members, and so a really fancy kind of roster sheet for in booklet form for your crew. And the softcover A5 saddle stitched, about 24 pages, and very nicely designed. They do some previews of the pages, so very fun thematic design. So yeah, if you haven't gotten into Forbidden Psalm, this is probably a good chance, because individually the first two books buying those, they're probably much more expensive separately than this collected volume. I think you're actually saving quite a bit and getting both of these, and the expansion adds so much more as far as tables and new feats and weapons types and things. There's a lot of different and monsters and things. There's a lot of different effects that are added, and plus now you have, I think, a total of maybe 25 scenarios. It's quite large now. The two combined included the core book and then the new book. You have 25 scenarios contained in these blood-soaked pages. So lots to play.
Does it have good out of game rules? Like, I'm thinking Stargrave has the ship that you work on, you can develop, which is kind of like your base, and then you have different equipment you can gear people up with, and experience and all that.
We just used the core book, so that there may have added some things in the expansion, but because you're kind of directly serving the wizard, there's kind of narrative before and after every scenario of like how you're interacting with the wizard, what he's going to buy from you, things that you've gathered have some value. He'll buy some things from you, and other things you can just sell or use on your own. So there isn't like a base. It's like with Frostgrave, you chose a certain kind of base, and you built things onto it to give you a laboratory for alchemy or things like that. I don't think, at least in the core book, there wasn't anything between time, but you are basically that Mordheim kind of way at trying. Anyone that was taken down during the scenario has to roll to see if they die, or has to roll to see what kind of injuries they have going into the next time. But it's a little bit more, I think, rules light in between scenarios than the others. So they're just trying to kind of move you through more of a narrative. But it's deadly. Yeah, it can be quite deadly.
And since the wizard is like your patron, is he literally hiring different groups and just see who comes back alive kind of thing, or
Yeah, and a lot of them they have options. You can play it competitively or cooperatively, and they have like round limits. So each of these scenarios will have like a limited number of rounds and an objective, and so you could basically be in competition, or you can just be working together to in these early scenarios, especially I think just to generate gold, so you can start to outfit your characters a little bit more, because you start out with only 50 gold. And to have a caster, you have to pay from that 5 gold right off the top. So you don't have a lot left. Like basically, you're running around with sticks and shirts. There's not a lot of armor in the first scenarios. So I think some of the earlier ones, and we didn't get past just the very first scenario. But the earlier ones are probably just about generating some resources for your group. But it's fun, and the magic is fun too, because it's all scroll based, so anyone can pick up a scroll and try to use it. But of course, the people with the higher presence stat are going to be more successful at it, and the magic is all randomly chosen. So even when you have a caster, you get a clean and unclean spell. So you have there's like chaos magic is unclean, and then the regular magic is just called clean magic. But you roll randomly for the scroll that you receive, and so some of it's useful, some of it's just a buffing spell, or some of it's healing. So that's really fun. You don't have you're not throwing fireballs and things. The caster is much less crafted than it would be in like a Frostgrave type game. But it's D20s. So nice and swingy with a D20, and basically no stat is more than a +3, and you'll get some things that'll give you like little additional bonuses. But as far as your stats, +3 or -3 is kind of the whole range, and a lot of things you don't have any kind of bonus in. But but good fun. So we'll put a link to that campaign. So if you haven't dived into that before, I would recommend taking a look. And of course, the PDFs of the core book and the expansion are available now. But this is a whole new shiny redesigned version, so it may be worth checking out. All right, and more wargaming. So we talked previously about Mantic. So Mantic kind of came to us, came to the fans and said, okay, so we've had this idea for a while, and Games Workshop may have heard what we were talking about and beat us to the punch, because they were going to do a large scale kind of apocalypse style for Warpath. Their or I guess it's on Firefight. Their kind of sci-fi, like large scale battle game, war game, and so they're talking about doing that, and they're like, well, wait a minute, if we want even more units on the table, why don't we shrink down the size? Why don't we change the scale of all the units and do kind of an epic scale type game? And then surprisingly, Games Workshop came out with their Horus Heresy. What is it? A Horus Heresy version of their miniatures game. So they came out. They had already done the Titan and the Aeronautica Imperialis game. So they just then tied in all of these units. And so now Mantic was trying to decide, what should we do? Do you want a epic version of Warpath, or should we just do this as a side thing? Should we just do it as 3D printed models? What should we do? And it looks like the fans have said, we want a full game, and we want you to take it to Kickstarter. So in 2024, we're going to get an epic scale Warpath. So this is going to be, and they said they're going to go even bigger than, it's a lot of miniatures. They're going to go even bigger than Games Workshop did with Apocalypse. So yeah, we're going to get and I think they're going to do true epic scale. So this will be 6mm as opposed to that kind of 8-ish millimeter that Games Workshop is doing now with their version. So the campaign will launch next year. And so this will be a great alternative to us, and probably much more affordable, because I can't even imagine what the prices are for Games Workshop's kind of epic version. You're getting these these little bases with these little 8mm miniatures on it, but you're probably paying close to the same price as if you were buying those individual miniatures about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So so the Kings of War rule set that they do for their fantasy line is probably one of the better rank and flank game systems out there. So this is definitely worth checking out if you want to. And price wise, I think this is going to be much more affordable. They haven't said quite yet if they're going to take this, because they have their Mantic Vault, which they're releasing STL files for 3D printing. but this may eventually get there as well, making it even more affordable. And they can also supplement this game with additional units or maybe terrain features and things through the Mantic Vault. So they have a lot of flexibility through this, and I'm glad to see that they're going to go all out, because they released an early version of the kind of in progress version of the rule book, and now they're going to finish it off. And yeah, it's good. It's going to be a full release. I mean, there's a lot of competition out there, and especially from the miniatures agnostic war game crowd. But yeah, it's nice to see they're going to go all in with this and produce an actual game instead of just a version you could play. So yeah, we'll see how this does Kickstarter wise. So they just said sometime next year, so it probably just depends on when they figure out how they want to produce the models, and probably find good timing around other major releases and stuff and other big Kickstarters.
They need to get some feedback from Chris after she ordered all those epic scale miniatures that came super mangled or whatever.
Yeah, and just clamshells. Yeah, right. Yeah, so this might make more sense. The tiny, really 10 millimeter or smaller miniatures are really really easy to print on 3D printers. So it takes a lot of because they're not heavy at all. They stick to, you don't have problems with adhesion or anything. So those are really easy to print. So I hopefully they support this game in both ways, not only with the production of the starter set, but also, whatever they're doing for this campaign, but also other things. So, and yeah, just if Mantic could really get their lore and supporting world building together, I think they could actually be a legitimate rival. It just, right now it seems like they just don't care enough about that to release books or back kind of the fluff of the game to get people really connected to it. So that's the big advantage that Games Workshop has, is they have just amazing narrative and amazing world building that people get attached to. And when it feels more generic or like a pale imitation, then yeah, sometimes that works against them. Even if you got great rules and even if you got decent miniatures, still people want to play in that more compelling world. So we'll see.
Yeah, they need to hire a big time writer and make him essentially like a showrunner,
Yeah.
To basically design a lore or like a continuity for them.
Yeah, I wonder why they don't do that. I wonder if there's egos with the company owners, because I think they're all former refugees of Games Workshop that started Mantic. And I wonder if it's just they want to kind of have their input and have their little inside jokes and stuff, and they don't really think it's that important. I don't know what's kind of stopping them. But I wonder if there's ego or something involved in not wanting to hand it over to somebody that could really make something that rivaled, especially with the that big misstep with Age of Sigmar. Mantic could have really taken advantage of that and capitalized on that, and they did make a book where you can play your old fantasy miniatures in Kings of War, and that was about it. Yeah, they didn't really step up and become more aggressive to say, no, we are the fantasy rank and flank game.
If they are all former Games Workshop people, that there's a couple big names out there who I don't think are officially under the employment of GW anymore. Andy Law and Graham Davis. They're literally I got in a little trouble on Facebook, but they're literally, in my opinion, wasting their time. They have this thing called the Rookery. I don't know if you've heard of that. And it's something they started 3 years ago, and it was going to be they were going to make adventures and a game world and eventually a game. And 3 years later, they're still just a Discord channel and a Facebook page. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. I even they had an adventure they wanted people to beta test. So I signed up and I got the adventure, and I fit it, even though it didn't really make sense. I fit it into the Forbidden Lands campaign I was running at the time. And it was pretty fun. But they never produced it, and they haven't produced anything. So it's like they need a job. Give them a job.
Wow. Yeah, I wonder what's going on with that. Maybe they just need that corporate structure, somebody like cracking a whip for them to meet some deadlines or something. Yeah.
Something, I don't know. Their Discord channel is infuriating because it's degenerated to just like, what's your favorite color dyes, And it's like, oh my god, you guys said you were gonna make games and you're just wasting my time.
Wow. Oh, that's too bad.
All right, rant over. Sorry.
Okay, no, not a problem. Well, somebody that's not wasting his time, it would be Tom Bloom. So Tom Bloom is the author of the webcomic Kill 6 Billion Demons, and also the mech TTRPG Lancer. So the very, very popular Lancer that just got the deal to be published by Dark Horse. So Dark Horse is publishing Lancer, and the comic is being published, I think, by Image, right? Some other company is publishing Kill 6 Billion Demons, and Tom Bloom is now releasing on his itch account Magna Gothica Maleghast. There's a colon in between there. So Maleghast subtitle Maleghast, and that is a high energy kind of gothic skirmish game. So he's trying to out grim dark Warhammer 40K in this like insane level of demon and metal kind of. So he's saying heavy metal, goth, and punk influenced. So he's the writer and artist for Kill 6 Billion Demons, and has released this game on itch on fittingly October 31st. So on Halloween, he released this game, and a blurb about the setting is Anzen-Mezeran, the city of 1 billion corpses, where death is broken. What dies in the Black City never truly dies, and it may be cut apart, scathed into a million pieces, thrown into the wind, burnt and salted, but it will still return. So the whole place is sliding slowly into hell, and that's the setting for a horror war game. So this is a little bit different take. So it's a 2 to 4 player skirmish game designed specifically for virtual tabletop. So it's featuring tactical necromancer action. It's going to use a square grid with the same dimensions as a chessboard, and the artist and designer himself has already produced assets. So along with the rules that you can get from itch is a zip file of tokens to represent your warband. So you don't have to search out art or anything. He's already illustrated it for you. So some people say it has a certain resemblance, probably because of the chessboard, to Brawl Arcane, which is a game that Chris and I played a bit, which is a lot of fun. The chessboard thing, kind of giving you a limited field, just with a little bit of terrain and a little bit of mechanics for getting around, feels really nice. But Maleghast is a little less minimalistic, so maybe a little heavier and what goes on in that space. So the character that's depicted on the page to promote the game is Gore Grinder, a man-machine hybrid with steam hammers for hands. And your group of fighters is called the Black Mass. So a Black Mass consists of a necromancer and 5 minions. And there are, in the background story of the setting, there are 6 houses that your mass may be aligned with. The Holy Abhorrers, the private military company Carcass, CARCASS, and so there's six different houses, all with very evocative art. And Bloom has also included a soundtrack for each faction. So I guess that works well with a VTT. You can kind of have a little playlist going. So whenever it's your turn, you can hear your theme song playing, which will be an interesting idea. So on Twitter, Bloom wrote about this game, "I've been in a weird fugue state. Most of the game was illustrated and laid out in the past 11 days. I did it all myself, all the game design, layout, writing, and art. I really hope you enjoy this. It has been an insane project and some of the most work I've done on anything." So yeah, this is 100% his baby, his dark metal, undead necromancy baby. And so if you like Kill 6 Billion Demons and metal music, this may be something worth trying out. And interesting because it's if it's on itch, it's going to be a digital release, and specifically saying this is for playing on VTTs is an interesting way to set it up. And hopefully, if someone with some technical know-how likes this game, they can set up like a package, and they can do the JSON file or whatever that would produce not only the raster sheets for the war bands, but then all the maps and things that you would need to play on as just a simple install for one of the the established VTTs like Foundry or Roll20. But
we should try it.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, this sounds and the prices are very affordable, $6.66, of course.
Of course.
Yes. So yeah, it looks like a really fun project. His art is really evocative and fun and just insanely over the top. And if there is metal music that you can play while we're playing it, yeah, we should definitely try it out. Tactical Necromancer.
Cool. Mm-hmm. The fact that it's VTT specific and playing on sort of a chessboard layout, that intrigues me because everything you said about the game really just sounded like Mork Borg and Mordheim.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So it definitely needed something else to make it unique. So the way you play might be the part that makes it cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm curious to see the rules. He's got some sample pages, some spreads from the rule book, and the great illustration and layout. It's a very readable but very cool looking book, and so it'd be fun to read, how he came up with the different houses and how they have maybe different, abilities or different approaches to fighting. So yeah, we'll have to try this out. And if there's no content or copyright ID on the metal music, then we can have an awesome stream with like metal music, blasting the whole time. And it would be really fun to, depending on whose turn it is, change the track. That would be very funny.
Yeah, if there's any way in the game to kind of measure who's winning in real time, you're like, I'm winning. We're throwing on some Dio.
Yeah, right. Nice. Yeah, so that's available. Oh, yeah, and one more thing that was a little bit depressing, but there is a very reasonable Humble Bundle as well that I should probably mention because I think it's going to go away. It's only got a week or so left, but a Roll20 Humble Bundle. And, I mentioned it last week. That's right. I mentioned it last week, and they said they were adding mystery games. Well, they just added the whole package on Roll20 for Dragonbane. So Dragonbane's got a gorgeous rule book, all of the pre-gen characters, all the maps, all the stuff that I busted my ass to put together for Owlbear Rodeo. It was is now already made for Roll20. So if you're already stuck in the Roll20 world, this is a great opportunity. I don't know if I can bring myself to,
One of us or both of us is getting it for Alchemy.
Yeah, right. That's right. And I think that'll be a much nicer presentation.
Yeah,
but
we'll have it.
Yeah, so that was the big announcement. That's right. We talked about that last week. So the Humble bundle for Roll20 now includes a full set, like the entire core set for Dragonbane. Yikes! So that's a lot. Yeah, so a lot of good Free League stuff.
Did you know? I didn't know this, and if you said it on the show last week, I apologize for missing it. But did you know that Vaesen was free on drive-through on Halloween?
Yes, yeah. I tweeted. I tweeted that with the link for it. That's great because that game has not gone on any kind of discount, and it's a really playable game. Plus, there's adventures already in. There's an adventure already in the core book to start you out. So yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. So that was definitely a great opportunity, and I think I really like that style of game, divorced from Lovecraft. I think that's a nice. I've enjoyed kind of coming up with how that game will run and not having the burden the burden of Cthulhu looming. So you can still have.
Yeah, it's funny because it's not like I don't like the Lovecraft stuff because I do, but that's always been like the go-to for horror games. So yeah, I totally feel you. It's nice to do a different thing. Yeah,
and I'm surprised how much in the adventures that we played so far, and I think even in the Lost Mountain saga, the tension between modernity, the pagan past and the kind of magical past, and the modernity and Christian modern times of the 19th century, that tension between Christianity and the old ways is very interesting in a lot of those stories. Yeah, and
they play that up a lot. It's cool.
Yeah, so it's very, very different. I mean, I think if there might be some people that are uncomfortable or don't like that dynamic, but it's very different from what
read a history book.
Yeah, right. From what they do with a lot of the Call of Cthulhu style games. Nice. All right, so that is going to do it for this week. So yeah, lots of little releases and interesting things. Yeah, we should definitely try the. If we can remember the title of it, that would be even better. The Magna Gothica.
I'm calling it double M.
Double M, yes. M:M. Yes.
Yeah.
But that looks it looks fun to play, and I definitely think we could get Chris in on that as well because she's a big.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, she's a big.
I've never played anything with Chris. That'd be cool.
Yeah, she's a big fan of Tom Bloom. All right, so that will do it for this week. So where can people find you, Matt?
Oh, I'm on Threads and Instagram. It's at Hargald, HAARGALD. Usually posting about games. Actually posted about the Jennel Jaquays thing not too long ago. And yeah, working on my Weird West game.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
Making a whole game is a way different slog than making adventure sites or something.
Right. Yeah. Then you got to get to
second guess yourself a lot.
Oh yeah, right. And then when you play test it all gets torn apart anyhow. So you gotta
Right. Yeah.
Gotta
count on you and Will to ruin my dream.
This just isn't working, man.
Yeah. What is this shit? Yeah. Exactly.
Nice.
But no, how about you?
Oh, so I'm still doing my single panel gag cartoon. So abuse cartoons on YouTube and Twitch. And last week, I guess this week it was yesterday, I had some delicious black truffle baby star ramen snacks that blew me away. I thought they were going to be some super expensive deluxe thing. They were only like $1.50 and they tasted amazing. So imagine like truffle salt on top of like dried ramen noodles. It was amazing. But so you can read that cartoon on GoComics. So gocomics.com/domestic abuse is the archive of that single panel gag cartoon. I draw 2 of those a week on the live stream and chat with the chat and desperately hope for inspiration from our discussions for some of these cartoons. And if you like what we're doing here with the weekly, please consider becoming a weekling on Patreon. So patreon.com/upturntable, and then upturntable.com is the website for everything that we're doing. There's links on there for shopping with Noble Knights or Drive-Thru RPG, and those are affiliate links that'll help us help support what we're doing. If you don't want to, back something on Patreon. Also on this live stream, there's a join button below for the YouTube membership. So YouTube membership will get you access to audiobooks and actual plays and things that we only post there. And as well as on the Patreon, there is an RSS feed of what you're hearing now. So the entire audio of the live stream goes up on the RSS feed for audio only. And I will be moving, I've had a couple of requests now of doing audio only for the actual plays so that they're a bit easier to listen to in a bit smaller, more portable files. So a lot of people don't like using YouTube. If you don't pay the premium, it's not a very usable app. So audio only has been requested. So you're going to get some audio of all of our Star Trek and Vaesen and Knave adventures coming up. Cool. So so thanks for joining us, and thank you, Matt. I really appreciate always last minute. You can help me out. I appreciate having someone to have discussions with. You always fill in some great details that I didn't think about, and you also send me like the Jennel Jaquays situation. You were the one to bring that to my attention. So thanks so much for all that you do to help the weekly. So I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you tomorrow for some Star Trek.
Oh yeah, for Star Trek.
Yes. Yeah. So bring your bikini. That's all I'm gonna say. So a little R&R may be in order for the.
Are we going to the J.J. Abrams universe?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, it's not quite that explicit, but okay. You'll be able to catch some rays possibly for your.
Are we doing one of those Paradise Planet's Gone Wrong episodes?
I don't know. We could.
Oh shit!
All right. So thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll be back just after this to talk to chat, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye. All right. We are back. Hey, Matt, are you there?
I am here.
All right. I've even got your audio turned on. That's so cool.
It's kind of cool with that timer. I can tell exactly what the delay is.
Oh, nice.
From the real audio to where it shows up on YouTube. It was 6-second delay.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, now we know how to get all the profanity off of the stream.
Oh, that would make me sad.
Nice. So good to see you, Miguel. How's it going? Oh yeah, and I didn't talk about so Games Workshop. The website is no longer Games Workshop. It's all just Warhammer, and basically
they killed Forge World. I knew I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They killed Forge World. So Forge World just like quietly died a death of just like being consumed. The website's gone. It just consumed into this Warhammer thing. And the front page of Warhammer.com is super like, you know, new player friendly. It's just about like recruiting new people into it. And it's really not fun to use for people that are looking for anything specific. The search is terrible. It really, and they made it for mobile. Like the design of it is very heavily made for using on phones and other devices. So the desktop version is terrible. It's really, really hard to, unintuitive and hard to figure out what they were thinking. So, yes.
I just think it's funny. It's like classic big company move is like huge change. Don't mention it at all.
Yeah.
Like, no, we'll just pretend. It's always been this way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just kind of in the middle of the night, we'll just switch it over, and nobody'll ever notice. Yeah, because they already sent out. If you had an account, they sent out messages saying, you know, any credit or vouchers that you have in the original account, you have to transfer over, or else they're just, you know, there's going to be a problem, and you have to go through tech support to get those balances moved over. So they did move a bunch of stuff over, and now with the shenanigans they're doing, that they're pre-ordering and screwing over the local, hobby shops. I don't know. I don't know what. Oh, Abyss. Hey, Abyss. How's it going? Abyss has entered the chat probably a long time ago.
Yeah, he came in a little while ago.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. Oh yeah, right. Abyss was saying, yeah, eBay will eat up the the poorly printed deck of many mistakes.
It's funny, that whole thing with the cards, because my gut reaction is, oh man, the Magic people would be appalled because they live or die by how playable the cards are. So they all have to be identical and exact and no errors that could be used for cheating or anything. But now that they've like stopped making, they destroyed the system for making new tournament judges and stuff.
Yeah, right.
And now I'm kind of like, maybe they just don't care anymore,
Right. They're going to digitally monetize everything. So who cares about physical games and meeting and physical cards? Yeah, the quality is going to be so bad. They're just going to like force you to play digitally because there's no reason. Wow. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, talking about the Citadel paints. Yeah, anything is cheaper than the crazy Citadel paints. Yeah, the big mega sets though. Oh yeah, wow. So maybe with the more pigment and stuff, Army Painter is going to be pushing up their price a little bit. Yeah, Abyss was saying $500 for 210 plus paints. Ouch. That's a bit higher than their previous line. Nice.
I don't know what I'd do with 210 paints. I got to be honest with you.
Right. Yeah, there's some bottles that would never get opened. That's for sure.
I literally bought the set of, they had the not complete, but the big set of speed paints. And I was like, yep, that'll do me. I'm good.
Yeah, right. Yes. Oh, cool. So Vallejo does an extra opaque line. Yeah. So maybe Army Painter is just playing catch up with everybody at this point. Yeah.
Is Vallejo an American company?
I think they're Spanish. Yeah, I think they're
Spanish.
They're produced in Spain and Europe. Yeah, so that's the one. Only really Citadel, aside from the Tamiya and the Mr. Hobby kind of stuff. Basically, Vallejo and Citadel are the only paints you can easily get in Japan. Everything else is an import, and it's pretty expensive. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, painting over large flat surfaces. Good. Yeah, interesting.
Isn't Mantic? Aren't they in Nottingham?
Yeah, I think they are. They're like, probably across the street from the Warhammer world.
I just read a thing the other day about Warp Miniatures. They're in Nottingham too. Are they all XGW people also?
Probably, yeah. They just moved across the street and they just flip them off at lunchtime every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if they have like, where the casting or whatever, the facilities are all right there. So if you're outside of Nottingham, it's much more expensive to truck your miniatures or your molds around. Yeah. It's funny. That's where everything gets cast.
Awkward meetups at coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Miguel's saying, I'm not really Vallejo, but pro Vallejo painters compare Army Painter to the new Express. Oh, okay. So half the price of contrast, yes, but weaker in coverage. Yeah, reactivation issue could be useful. Yeah, that's right. It could be something you could use to your advantage if it was consistent.
Has anyone ever made like a psychedelic kind of mystery paint that like flips out and makes patterns and stuff? That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't think they have. I'm sure you could probably with the way contrast, or you could probably figure out a way to mix contrast with certain mediums that don't, won't mix well together, so they'll stay kind of separated when you apply them, and then they'll have that little spreading effect. Yeah, I've seen there's some paints. I've seen some hobby paints that are kind of multicolor iridescence and stuff, but I haven't seen anything that is particular, like swirls the kind of like a marbling kind of effect. Kind of no psychedelic effects so far. I'm sure people have done it though. They've done everything on their models.
GW wants to bring back the old world and make you pay 2023 prices for 2003 miniatures.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was funny how their big reveals were the Bretonians,
Mm-hmm.
and while the Bretonians were kind of cool and different than the Empire, they're not really the core of Warhammer. You
Right,
know,
right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think it's going to be difficult for them to, with what they want to do with Age of Sigmar, like the Cities of Sigmar releases that they've been doing have been really cool. I mean, I could see like using some of those kits for some of the kind of crusty skirmish games, fantasy skirmish games, because they had some kind of fun models. But yeah, I think they're going to have trouble separating like this is Age of Sigmar, this is Old World, because people definitely want to use things for both. So they're intentionally not releasing factions for re-releasing factions for Old World that they're heavily developed in Age of Sigmar. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be really frustrating, unsatisfying, and too expensive. Which should be the new name of their company. They should change it from Warhammer to that.
that'd be good.
Wow.
And I swear to God, if they release more witch hunters that don't look like witch hunters, it's
No.
gonna piss me off.
Right.
Witch hunters must have the big pilgrim hat.
Yes, yes.
Or it's an absolute no go for me.
Yes. They're Puritans. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, nice. Yeah, Miguel said they're going to have AIs judging tournaments now. Yeah, they don't need physical judges. They can just have an AI system monitor all of your magic play. Oh, interesting. Thanks. Abyss clarified. Army Painter is Danish. Yeah, so yeah, they are cheaper in Europe. Ah, okay.
Nice.
Yeah. For some reason, I just had this idea because it was easier to get them in the U.S. I thought they might have been American. Danish paint company. That's cool. Nice.
Do you think GW suits go to cafes? That's for the plebs.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let's put it this way. I think ex-GW people probably go to cafes.
Yes.
And they probably like it's an old 90s movie. They see the GW suits that they used to work with walking by on their cell phones or something.
Yes, being driven in their Bentleys, probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Miguel said, yeah, he's got some color shift paints. That's cool. Nice.
As in shift into different things, like I was talking about earlier. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. GSW.
Stand on that, Miguel.
Color shift paints.
That's used for the old world minis is more time. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be good.
My Reichlander band was the shizzle in the day.
Oh, nice.
So much fun. And the ogres, the old Citadel ogre miniatures, man, love those things.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be definitely the best use. Oh, Green Stuff World, that's right. Yeah, Green Stuff World has chameleon acrylic paints. Oh, interesting. Yeah, color shift paint.
It is a psychedelic paint line. Oh, yeah. I might have to check it out.
Nice. Yeah, color shift paint testing. Yeah, look on YouTube. People did some videos. Yeah, kind of trying to show the effect using color shift paints.
Is there a good iridescent paint that like if you're going to paint an insect or something, it would shift in the light? Are there good paints for that?
I've seen, not a lot of them are lacquer based. The ones I've seen, at least in Japan, are more lacquer based stuff. So they're not the water based acrylic. But yeah, but you can get some really nice. Yeah, that kind of metallic effect where you like a beetle's shell or whatever, where one way it's kind of purple, the other way it's kind of blue or green, and yeah.
People were throwing that on their cars during the pandemic. I remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so what else are you going to do? Yeah, check that out, Matt, the color shift. The Green Stuff World color shift. Looks like they do exactly what you're thinking. Nice.
Have you seen the photos of 90s Jervis and 20s Jervis?
Oh,
No, 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 I haven't.
oh, no, no,
Or if
no.
I have, I don't remember.
Hmm.
I think John Blanche is still a fat dude. He hasn't changed.
Right. Nice.
And now that he's retired, he can hang out at the cafe and not feel bad about it.
Mm-mm. Oh, yeah, some Tyranid paints using the color shift. Okay, cool. Nice. Oh, cool. Yeah, Miguel's gonna send a link for that. I'll make sure you see that, Matt. Oh, that's cool. Yes. Yeah, I got a lot of. If we're gonna get serious about playing Monster Hunter, there's a lot of painting that needs to be done. Especially those big ones are gonna. Yeah, that's gonna be some work. It's gonna be a lot of paint too.
Yeah, where do you fall on that with like a big Kickstarter board game with lots of miniatures? Do you play it? Will you play it unpainted? Because like I got those 2 boxes of Conan
Oh yeah,
miniatures,
yeah.
and I've painted about six miniatures,
Right, right.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to play it, but I also really want it to be painted. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, for the just to learn the rules and stuff, I'll definitely play it unpainted. But like on camera, I hate to have just gray plastic. Yeah, that's so depressing, and it's visually so unpleasant. Yeah, I went through. I tried to come up with a couple of different techniques to like quickly paint stuff, like the what is it, the dungeon saga, the Mantic Dungeon Saga. They separated all the different types of monsters and things by colored plastic. The quality is pretty terrible, but I came up with a just clear coating them and then doing a black wash and just like trying to do basically what contrast paints do, or what kind of the pre stages of the what is that, the slap dash, whatever they're calling it, the
Chop chop.
so yeah, the slap chop kind of style. So just took the base color of the plastic, if it's green or red or whatever the monster type was, or brown, clear coated it, then washed it with a really dark wash, and then did a couple of run passes of dry brushing, and it looked okay. It looked nice, and I didn't really want to go through painting a lot of it because the quality of the minis was so low, so I didn't want to waste a lot of time because the detail just wasn't there, and a lot of them were kind of weird looking, but that worked okay, and that was the closest thing to like half painted. Yeah.
One of the guys we play games with sometimes, he went deep into Zombicide for a while,
Oh, uh-huh.
and he painted like a metric ton of Zombicide miniatures,
Mm-hmm.
but he did it like super sloppy because
Oh,
he didn't really care too much.
uh-huh.
But then on top of that, this is the part that killed me, was he shows up to play Zombicide and he pulls out this giant 5-gallon Ziploc bag,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just all thrown in
Oh
it.
no.
And I'm like, oh man! I'm like, why did you even bother to paint these?
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. That's painful. It's funny though. I guess because board game miniatures, like if you think about like Stratego or whatever, that's Stratego. The what's the one with all the little the world, but just board game Risk. Yeah, sorry, Risk. Yeah, like you think about those kinds of that level of miniatures, people are just used to just throwing them into little cups or little piles or whatever. So board game miniatures have come a long way, but still people have trouble respecting them. Well, I think I did that with, and they're not painted, but I think I did that with Hero Quest. I was so disappointed by the re-release of Hero Quest. I just threw everything back in the box. Didn't even bother. It's like, I'm not going to be painting this. I'm not going to be doing anything with it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm surprised you said you might be playing that again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just kind of a group, like, what do you want to do, and kicked a few ideas around, and so tomorrow night, Hero Quest returns, so we'll see.
Oh, so I ordered this board game I'm pretty excited about. It's called Australia, so AUZ instead of S, Australia. And it's a Martin Wallace game. I don't know if you know him, but he's a British board game designer. He makes really, really clever games that kind of mix different board game genres. So like they're on the surface it might seem like it's just a everybody against everybody game, but there could be like this weird hidden trader mechanic, and
Oh,
sometimes
cool.
he's added like deck building mechanics, but it's also an area control game.
Hmm.
So he's all over the place. Well, Australia, it's 1930s Australia, and the first phase of the game is you're all just people doing kind of Euro game stuff, like building rail lines and farms and mines and gathering resources and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But at some point, it flips, and all these Cthulhu beasties start attacking Australia. And so you got to switch from all this very Euro, build my engine stuff to, oh shit, I got to fight Cthulhu beasties.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, let me know how that goes. Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, that sounds good. Like like two stages that are very different.
Mhm.
Yeah, very different to play.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, what was it? Abyss gave the warning. Yeah, don't convince yourself you have to play painted or you'll never get to play. That's something. Yeah, I kind of had to give up because I wanted to see how rule sets worked and things for certain, some of the bigger miniatures board games. So you can't wait until you get stuff painted. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, he was dead on because I haven't played it yet.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Oh, Abyss said I once painted the whole War of the Ring board game, but there are only two compartments. Yeah, that's right. For what? Yeah, the good side and the Mordor side. So you didn't varnish them. Yeah. If you didn't varnish them, the paint jobs would get ruined. Yeah.
You have to put a heavy finish on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if they're gonna bang around at all.
Yeah, I was sad when I saw those miniatures because it's not like he painted them very nicely. I get it, but they did all kinds of weird promos for Zombicide.
Oh,
and so one of the promo miniatures was Thrud the Barbarian. Do you remember him? White Dwarf?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him and he's all chipped and messed up. I would have painted the shit out of this, and I don't really like painting.
Right. Oh,
it's
man.
Thrud the Barbarian, damn it.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, it's funny. It's gotten much more expensive and the quality is much better, but still board games are board games. You still have that shelf in the closet where all the lids are crushed in. It's just Sorry and Monopoly and Clue all smashed in there. Still that mentality still exists. It's like it's just a board
game. That's the thing with the Conan minis.
Mm-hmm.
They look cool. They look really nice, but they're just that little bit smaller than I would like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because as a person who's not a very good painter, I like the bigger
minis.
Yeah,
right. Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we'll see. So I'll give you an update on if Hero Quest, how it went this time. And I don't know. Things might change because, Monster Hunter is here. So we may be able to shift on over. I don't know if Tacos and Monster Hunter go together, but we'll try. But
sounds like it.
Yeah. Yes. Nice. Yep. Okay, so we'll be doing some Star Trek tomorrow night in North America. Yeah, so about the same time, we'll still be playing about the same time tomorrow if you want to catch that live stream.
Probably start about 2.5 hours from before now.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on and I hope Terry's doing okay. So we might we'll see how.
Well, you know what's going on, right? He's coming back from a cruise.
Yeah.
So it's kind of ironic if you're going to do some kind of like pleasure planet adventure or something.
Right. Got to go right back to the pleasure island. Yes. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, this was a We'll see how it goes. It was odd. They were trying to include. There's a lot of stuff they're trying to fit in there. But it should be fun. So okay, well let's call it. Yeah. So so about the same time. Yeah, like Matt said, about 2.5 hours before now, we'll be starting up. Hopefully. Okay. So thanks for joining us, and thank you again, Matt, for hanging out.
Yeah, anytime.
And Abyss will try to stay awake, so maybe we'll see Abyss there. So thanks, dude, and Miguel and Abyss. Good to see you guys in the chat. And we'll, so see you soon, Matt. See you in less than 24 hours. We'll be back online.
Very soon. I'm going to have to get lots of coffee. I got to get up early tomorrow and take my wife's car into the shop.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. Yeah, back to painting. Everybody get back to your painting. All right, so everyone, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.